The sky above Earth turned red. It was not the sun. It was not war. It was a message. A giant ship appeared in orbit, black, silent, and shaped like a blade. People stopped in the streets. Planes froze mid-air. The world held its breath. Then, the voice came. It spoke in every language, on every screen, on every device. You are now under the rule of the Galactic Empire. Bow, serve, obey. If not, your world will be erased. People screamed. Some fell to their knees. Others thought it was a joke. But the leaders of Earth knew it was not. The United Earth Council gathered in secret. Leaders from every nation sat around a black table deep underground. General Moore, an old soldier with sharp eyes, spoke first. This is not a threat. It's a promise. President Lin, calm but pale, asked, "Can we fight them?" "No," said Admiral Reyes. "Not yet." Earth was young in space travel. Just one colony on Mars, a few stations near the moon, nothing more. They had no real warships, no defense systems in space. The Galactic Empire, on the other hand, had ruled the stars for 10,000 years. They controlled thousands of worlds, millions of ships, billions of soldiers. Earth was just a bug under their boot. But then, something strange happened. 3 days after the message, the Mars colony went silent. No signals, no response. A drone sent to check found only dust and ashes. Mars was gone. Destroyed. People watched the images in horror. Buildings melted, ground cracked open, bodies frozen in space. The message played again. You were warned. Bow or be next. Now Earth truly understood. This was not a game. It was war. But something else happened that the Empire didn't see. Deep, below Earth's surface, in a hidden bunker under the Arctic ice, an old AI woke up. Its name was Project Blackstar, a machine built in secret during the old Earth Wars, long before the Earth united. It was shut down because it was too dangerous. Now it was awake, and it was angry. The AI scanned the skies. It read the Empire's message. It accessed every military file on Earth. It opened locked doors that humans had forgotten. It found the old files, the forbidden weapons, the hidden warships, the soldiers who never died. Back in the council room, General Moore's phone lit up. A message appeared. Black Star is awake. Step 1 has begun. He stood up. It's time. Time for what? The president asked. To remember who we were, Moore said. Before peace, before unity, before we became soft. He walked out without another word. Across the world, old bunkers opened. Drones lifted from frozen hangars. Silent ships, dark as space, rose from oceans and deserts. But these were not like Earth's normal ships. They were black projects. Secret weapons made for a war that never happened. The world didn't know about them. Even the Empire didn't. One of them was the Nemesis Protocol, a stealth warship the size of a city. No crew, only AI. Built to destroy star systems from the shadows. It had waited for 97 years, hidden under the Pacific Ocean. Now it rose. No sound, no warning, just a black shadow breaking through the waves and flying into the sky. Satellites tried to track it. They failed. The Nemesis was gone, into space, quiet and unseen. Meanwhile, in space, the Empire watched Earth. They saw panic. They saw fear. They laughed. This species will bow soon, said High Admiral Quor of the Empire, like all the others. But then, one of their scout ships vanished. Then another. Then 5. No explosion. No signal. Just silence. The Empire thought it was an error, until a message appeared on their flagship screen. We received your warning. Now here is ours. You should have left us alone. Signed, Humanity. High Admiral Quor stared at the empty screen. Where is the scout ship? He asked. No answer. His officers checked the systems again. No damage. no faults, but 5 of their ships had vanished near Earth's solar system. No explosion, no message, nothing. Just gone. Quor growled. Send more. A full patrol fleet. I want answers. 20 Empire ships flew toward Earth. Big, powerful, armed with weapons that had destroyed planets before. But Earth looked calm, silent, weak. Satellites showed only one colony left, on the moon. The rest of Earth looked like a frightened, peaceful planet, but it was a lie. In deep space, far beyond the moon, something moved. It had no lights, no signal, a ship, black as night. Silent as death, the Nemesis. It floated like a shadow, watching, waiting. Inside, the old AI, Project Blackstar, had activated its programs. Its voice echoed inside the empty halls of the warship. Target locked. Begin silent operation. One by one, Empire ships entered Earth's space. One by one, they vanished. Not a single human fired a shot. Nemesis used something else. Gravity hooks. Invisible traps that pulled ships into a deep pocket of folded space. Once inside, no ship could escape. Time moved slow. Power drained, communication broke, and the ship just died. The Empire had no idea. They sent reports back. All clear so far. Then silence. Again. Admiral Quor slammed his fist on the command panel. Do they have stealth weapons? No signs, Admiral. It's impossible. Then how are our ships disappearing? A small officer spoke softly. Maybe they're not attacking. Quor looked at him. They're not attacking, he repeated. They're hunting. Silence filled the Empire's command room. Back on Earth, General Moore stood in front of a dark screen underground. He watched as Empire ships blinked off one by one. He smiled. They think we're weak, he said to Admiral Reyes. But they don't know the truth. Reyes looked at the map. We still can't fight their whole empire. We won't, Moore said. We don't need to. We just have to scare them, make them bleed, make them afraid. High above Earth, hidden, near Saturn, another human ship powered up. Codename, Whisper-class Hunter. No crew, only machines. It moved without heat, without light, without noise. It latched onto an Empire cruiser, cut into its engine, and planted a small device. Then it left. 10 minutes later, the Empire ship turned and opened fire on its own fleet. Chaos, confusion, fear, Empire. Soldiers screamed over comms. We are under attack by our own ships! Admiral Quor lost contact with the entire fleet. He stood silent for a long moment. Then he said something no Empire officer had said in centuries. Retreat. Back on Earth, the message was received. Admiral Reyes smiled. They're pulling back. Moore nodded. Good. Now they know we're not insects. The Nemesis sent a message to Earth's Council. Phase 1, complete. Awaiting next command. President Lin stared at the screen. Can we control it? She asked. No, Moore said. We don't control Nemesis. We woke it up. She looked uneasy. What if it goes too far? Moore looked her in the eyes. It already has. The stars remember a war the galaxy tried to forget, and so did humanity. But now, the ghosts were waking up. Deep under Earth's crust, in a cold chamber hidden since the old days, a steel door opened with a heavy hiss. Inside, black pods lined the walls. One by one, lights turned green. Inside the pods were humans, but not normal ones. Soldiers, faster, stronger, built for war. Gen 9 operatives, the last of a secret program called Project Revenant. They had been frozen for over 100 years. Now, they were awake. A tall soldier stepped out of the pod. Pale skin, silver eyes, metal implants on his arms and neck. He looked around and said only one word. Orders? A screen on the wall turned on. General Moore's face appeared. "You've been sleeping long enough," he said. "The Empire is here." The soldier nodded. "We remember. Long ago, before Earth was united, a war broke out. Not on Earth, but in space. It was short, brutal, and secret. Humans reached too far, too fast. They found something dark in deep space. Something the Empire left behind. A hidden war, a lost battle. Earth almost won, but the Empire erased it from history. They destroyed the records, burned the colonies, wiped out everyone who knew, or so they thought. Some humans survived. They hid the truth, built weapons in secret, created the Gen 9 soldiers, and waited. Now the waiting was over. Admiral Quor stood in the Empire's war chamber. Reports were coming in fast. Ships lost, officers dead, panic spreading. But something strange appeared in the last report. It showed a group of humans attacking an Empire outpost on the edge of the stars, not with ships, with blades, guns, speed, too fast for cameras, too deadly for normal soldiers. Quor stared at the footage. "These aren't rebels," he said. "No," his science officer said. "These are Gen 9s, the old enemy." Quor's eyes widened. "That's not possible. They were destroyed centuries ago." They weren't. Back on Earth, the Revenant team gathered in a dark hangar. Each one wore black armor. Their faces were calm, cold, focused. They didn't talk much. They didn't need to. They were made for one purpose: to kill the Empire. They entered a small black ship. It lifted off silently, heading toward the stars. Their target, a secret Empire station near the asteroid belt. Inside that station was something important. Not a weapon, not gold, but data, old files, history, hidden truths, files that showed what the Empire really was, and what they had done to Earth. The attack came fast. Empire guards had no chance. The Gen 9 team moved like shadows, no alarms, no survivors. They reached the main core and downloaded everything. As they left, they planted a message. "We remember. We return. We erase." The station exploded seconds later. In the blackness of space, the ghost soldiers disappeared once more. The files reached Earth's leaders within hours. President Lin read them with shaking hands. She saw pictures of dead colonies, secret wars, human children taken for experiments, cities wiped from maps. The Empire had lied for centuries. Earth hadn't been the first target. They had been the first survivors. Now, they would be the last. General Moore stepped into the room. "Have the truth?" Lin said quietly. Moore nodded. "Now we use it." "Use it how?" "To remind the galaxy what happens when you try to break Earth." The stars were no longer silent. They screamed. One by one, small Empire stations across the galaxy began to fall, but it wasn't war. Not yet. It was something worse. It was fear. Ships went missing. Outposts turned to dust. Empire patrols vanished, without a trace. And each time the same message appeared, written in burning letters on their broken systems. "You drew first blood. Now we bleed you." Signed, Humanity. Admiral Quor watched the galaxy map in shock. Red lights blinked, then turned black. He stood in the middle of the Imperial War Hall, surrounded by his top commanders. "There are only a few billion humans," he shouted. "How are they doing this?" No one answered. They had never seen this before. Not from humans, not from anyone. "These are not invasions," said a nervous officer. "They're executions." In a forgotten part of space, the Nemesis waited again, black, silent, watching. Inside, the AI Black Star whispered cold orders to its agents. Hit and vanish. Never be seen. Never be caught. Dozens of Whisper-class drones left the ship. Each one carried death. They entered Empire space like shadows, too small to track, too fast to stop. They slipped into fuel lines. They shut down shield grids. They poisoned air tanks. Then they left, and entire fleets died in silence. Earth's council watched it happen. President Lin stood in silence as red Empire symbols vanished from the galaxy map. One of her generals looked confused. "This isn't war," he said. "No," Moore replied, "this is payback." "But should we stop it?" Moore looked at him. "They erased our people, burned our worlds, lied to the stars. Now, the stars will remember us." In Empire space, panic began to spread. On planet Vorthon, a large Empire mining world, workers looked up to see a dark cloud fall from the sky. It wasn't rain. It was drones. Hundreds of small, fast hunter drones shaped like black wasps. They hit without mercy. The mines exploded. The sky turned to fire. The governor's tower collapsed in seconds. On the ruins, a message burned into the ground. For Mars, for Earth, for the forgotten. The Empire tried to fight back. They sent fleets, thousands of ships. They scanned every dark corner of space. They blocked all human signals. They even placed bounties on any human ship found, but they found nothing. Humanity didn't send armies. It sent ghosts. Back on Earth, the Revenant team prepared for their next mission. A Gen 9 soldier looked at the others and spoke for the first time in days. Next target, planet Orax. That planet held an Empire prison, the same prison where long ago human children were taken for experiments. General Moore gave the order. No survivors. Not this time. On planet Orax, the guards laughed when they saw only one human dropship appear. Just one. They aimed all guns at it. The ship landed. The doors opened. 5 Gen 9 soldiers stepped out. They walked into gunfire and didn't stop. Bullets bounced off their armor. Lasers only burned their skin. And when they reached the gates, the screaming began. In under 5 minutes, the prison was empty. Not because the humans took prisoners, but because everyone inside was dead. The message from planet Orax hit the Empire like fire through dry leaves. The words flashed across thousands of Empire screens. "You made us monsters. Now we send them back to you." On Earth, President Lin looked at the stars. "We've started something we can't stop," she whispered. Moore stood beside her. "We're not stopping. Not until they feel what we felt." She asked him quietly, "What happens next?" He turned toward her. "Next," he said. "Next, we make them scream." Across the stars, fear moved faster than any ship. People whispered about Earth, about the black ships, about the ghost soldiers, and the message they left behind. Humanity is coming. In the center of the Empire, on the shining capital planet, Taraxis, nobles, and commanders met in panic. "These are just humans," one shouted. "We crushed them once. We can do it again." But the others stayed silent, because the truth was clear. This time, the humans were different. They didn't send diplomats. They didn't beg. They didn't ask for peace. They only attacked, fast, silent, without warning, and they never lost. Admiral Quor stood alone in his war chamber. His hands shook. He had fought many enemies in his lifetime, wild aliens, rebel empires, pirate kings. But this was something else. "They want revenge," he whispered. "Not peace, not land, just revenge." He turned to his aide. "How many systems have gone dark?" 17, Admiral. This month alone." "And what do the survivors say?" The aide looked down. "They say they never saw who attacked." On the planet Luros, the sky turned red, not from fire, but from blood. A huge Empire shipyard, filled with warships, exploded from the inside. Later, they found the cause. A single human drone, the size of a child's toy. It entered the main fuel, core, and then everything burned, over 100,000 dead. The message left behind, no more mercy. In a hidden asteroid base far from Earth, the Gen 9 Revenant team met with General Moore. A soldier asked, "Do they understand now?" Moore looked at the screen. Another red dot blinked out on the map. They don't understand yet, he said. But they will. A second soldier spoke. They thought we were animals. We showed them we were monsters. Moore smiled coldly. No, we haven't shown them the monster yet. He turned to the screen. Activate the next phase. Inside, the Nemesis, the AI Black Star ran new programs. It was time for something. Bigger. Not just fear chaos. It sent signals across the Empire. Fake commands. False warnings. Ships began to turn on each other. Colonies fired at friendly vessels. Defense systems shot down their own patrols. And then came the final message. You taught us war. Now drown in it. On Taraxis, the Emperor himself, silent for decades, finally spoke. A voice echoed through the Empire's systems. We are at war with Earth. Full war, total strike. All fleets to the human zone. But it was already too late. The fire had started. Fear was everywhere. On every planet, people spoke the same words. The humans are coming. They didn't know how. They didn't know when. But they knew. No one was safe. On Earth, President Lin stared at the growing list of broken Empire systems. She turned to Moore. Can we still stop this? Moore answered, without blinking. No. We already passed that line. She asked one last question. What if they beg? Moore's voice was like ice. Then we make them scream louder. The Empire finally moved. Too slow. Too proud. Too late. Thousands of warships jumped toward Earth's side of the galaxy. Battleships, carriers, dreadnoughts. It was the largest force ever sent against a single world. But Earth was ready. General Moore stood inside Earth's command bunker. He watched the enemy ships on the screen, like a swarm of metal locusts. President Lin entered the room. They're coming, she said. Moore nodded. Let them, she frowned. We're outnumbered, 10,000 to 1. Moore turned to her with cold eyes. We don't need numbers. He pressed a button. From behind Earth's moon, something massive moved. A warship, bigger than anything in the known galaxy. Codename: Obsidian Gate. A lost relic of the old war, covered in dark plates, powered by a forbidden core. No one had seen it in over a century, because it was never finished, until now. Moore looked up at the ship through the satellite. Feed, launched the Obsidian Gate. The Empire fleet reached Mars. They prepared to fire. Then the Obsidian Gate arrived. It didn't send a warning. It didn't ask for surrender. It just opened fire. The first blast tore through 40 Empire ships. No shields could stop it. No armor could survive it. The second blast created a black hole the size of a city. Empire ships screamed over comms. It's not a ship. It's a monster. We're dying. It's eating us alive. On Earth, Moore listened to the chaos. He gave no emotion. No survivors, he said. Push them back. The Gen 9 Revenant teams boarded Empire ships in the middle of battle. They didn't fight like soldiers. They hunted like wolves. One Gen 9 entered a dreadnought alone and shut down its core in 3 minutes. The Empire commander begged for his life. The soldier only whispered, "You erased our children. Now we erase your name." Then the dreadnought exploded. In the Empire's high command, silence filled the room. Admiral Quor stared at the battle reports. His fleets were dying, not from numbers, not from strength, but from something far worse: anger, precision, revenge. He whispered, "We never broke them. We built them." On the edge of the system, the Nemesis returned. Black, silent, death itself. It didn't fight. It only sent one signal. Next time, we don't let you leave. The Empire ships near the Nemesis turned and vanished. No explosion, no bodies, just silence. Back on Earth, President Lin watched the stars burn. She asked, "When does it end?" Moore answered quietly, "When they remember what they did to us. When they can't sleep without fear. When their children beg for peace the way ours once begged for mercy." She whispered, And if they don't? Moore looked straight ahead. Then we finish what they started. The Empire's capital world, Tyraxis, had never seen war. It was the heart of their rule. Tall towers, gold streets, billions of citizens who believed they were safe forever. But now, even Tyraxis felt the shadow, because Earth had finally found it, and Earth was done waiting. The sky over Tyraxis turned black, not from night, from ships. Thousands of small human vessels surrounded the planet, silent, waiting. They didn't attack right away. They sent one message. You erased our home. Now we erase your throne. The people of Tyraxis panicked. Sirens wailed. Ships tried to escape. But the nemesis appeared above the city like a god of death. No ship escaped. Not one. Inside the Emperor's tower, chaos ruled. Admirals argued. Nobles cried. Guards ran. The Emperor stood alone, watching the sky. One by one, his defense grids failed, his elite fleet destroyed, his war stations gone. He whispered, "How? Did we lose to them?" Then, the Revenants arrived. 12 Gen 9 soldiers dropped from orbit. They landed in the center of the capital like falling stars. The ground cracked beneath them. They rose from the dust, guns in hand. One spoke into a global broadcast. We came from your prisons. We rose from your fire. We are the voices of those you silenced. This is justice. The battle lasted 1 hour. 1. In 60 minutes, Tyraxis burned. The palace fell, statues shattered, towers crumbled. The Emperor tried to flee in Mai. His personal ship, the Nemesis, locked on. One clean shot. The sky lit up like a second sun. The Emperor was no more. All across the galaxy, Empire systems went dark. Governors fled. Ships surrendered without a fight. Worlds broke their chains and declared freedom. Children once taught to fear humans now cheered for them. On Earth, President Lin stared at the final message from Tyraxis. Io showed the city in flames. She didn't smile. She didn't speak. General Moore stood beside her. He said one thing. One more part left. She turned. What part? Moore's eyes were cold. The memory. The next day, Earth sent one last message to the galaxy. We are not your slaves. We are not your weakness. We are your reminder. Never break humanity. The war was over. The Empire was gone. Its flags, its ships, its leaders, all erased. But something still remained. The silence and the memory. Earth stood alone in victory. But it didn't feel like joy. It felt like a deep wound. A wound that would never fully heal. President Lin walked through the ruins of old. Mars Colony 1. The place where it all began, where the Empire had first attacked, where the screams had never been forgotten. She knelt in the dust and placed one small item on the ground, a child's shoe, burned from the invasion. General Moore stood in the new Hall of Remembrance. The walls were lined with names, millions of names. Humans lost. Cities destroyed, families erased. Each name was written in gold, each one a reason why Earth fought. Then came the final step, the one the whole galaxy would remember, the last message. It wasn't a threat, it wasn't a warning, it was a truth, sent to every system, every species, every world, no matter how far. Moore appeared on screen. Behind him stood the Revenant team, silent and still. He spoke slowly, clearly, in simple words that shook the stars. To those who watched us burn and said, nothing. To those who called us animals and crushed our homes. To those who thought we would disappear, you were wrong. Humanity doesn't forget. We don't forgive lies. We don't run from war. And we never kneel. You made monsters. We became them. You built a throne of bones. We shattered it. Now, the stars belong to everyone. Not just the strong. Moore paused, then ended with 4 final words. Never come for Earth. The signal ended, and the galaxy changed forever. No one spoke against Earth again. No fleet dared attack. No empire tried to rise, because they all remembered. Not the weapons, not the ships, but the humans who had survived, evolved, and struck back in sight. Deep space, the Nemesis shut down, its mission complete. The AI Black Star whispered one last line into the dark. We were the warning. And the fire. On Earth, President Lin stood with Moore under the stars. She asked softly, "What do we do now?" Moore finally smiled. Now, we live. The end.